My name is Jim McNeil, and I'm just glad to be here tonight. I'm so impressed with the numbers that are here, and so many of you young people. You need to be committed for on a Saturday night being here worshiping God, and I think this is just an awesome thing, and thank you for coming. Tonight I'd like to share with you my testimony and let you know how God has worked in my life. God has been a very big part of my life, as you'll learn in my testimony. But I didn't grow up as a normal kid. And you'll get into this as we get into my testimony. And we're going to use a PowerPoint presentation so you can see pictures. One thing about it, though, a lot of it's in black and white because as you get older, that's what happens. But anyway, let's get started. I arrived early on a Sunday morning at the Baptist Memorial Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. I weighed a whopping 10 pounds, 5 3/4 ounces. I was the first child born to Guy and Earlene McNeil. My father was a graduate of Memphis State University. My mother was a housewife. My father was employed with the Postal Service as a postal clerk. As I said, my mother was a housewife, and I was just the beginning. I have 2 sets of twins in my family. I was joined by twins, Dwayne and Elaine, a brother, Michael, and then twins again, this time, Melinda and Melissa. On the outside, my life appeared to be quite normal. But behind closed doors, there was child and spouse abuse. My father was destroying his life with alcohol and drugs, and was destroying our family. At the tender age of 6, my family life was shattered as the Memphis juvenile court system in Memphis removed the 6 of us from our home. This would be the last time that we would live together as a family. As a ward of the court, I was placed in a foster home for a short time, and later I was placed in the Quarterly Children's Home along with my brothers Dwayne and Michael and my sister Elaine. Over the next 11 years, I would live in 4 different children's homes in the state of Tennessee. Melinda and Melissa, because they were babies, were placed in foster care and later adopted by their foster parents. From the time that I was taken away from my parents at the age of 6, all I could think about was going back home each night. Many nights I cried myself to sleep, wanting to go back home. But God had a plan. He knew I would not survive in my home life. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Growing up in the juvenile court system, I was encouraged to do well in school and required to go to church on Sunday mornings. Going to church was new to me, but it was something that I enjoyed very much. At the age of 8, at the 7th Street Baptist Church in Memphis, Tennessee, I accepted the Lord as my personal Savior and was baptized. The first Bible I recall reading was the Gideon Bible that was on my nightstand next to my bed. And believe it or not, that was provided, the furniture in that bedroom and the Bible, or the nightstand, was provided by Elvis Presley, who was from Memphis also. And as I read that Bible and read into it and got to know it, I wanted a Bible of my own. So what I started doing was saving coupons off of the school paper. And after a period of time, I was able to accumulate enough points with the coupons and buy my own Bible. And I wish I had bought the Bible, because I still have that Bible today after, I think I purchased it in 65, so that's a while back. I was living at the Monroe Harding's Children's Home in Nashville, Tennessee when I finished my junior year in high school. Being 18 years of age at that time is considered an adult in the state of Tennessee. I decided to live on my own, work, and go to school. My senior year was quite a struggle for me, with the added burden of a job to help pay bills. I often missed classes. As challenging as it was, I didn't give up, and I graduated from Hillsborough High School in Nashville, Tennessee. With diploma in hand and the Vietnam conflict in the news, the dream of a college education was not very promising. I had no idea which direction my life was going to go, but God had a plan. As a group called the East Memphis Optimist Club was looking for a young man to sponsor through college, After recommendations and interviews, I was that young man chosen. I was accepted into the College of the Ozarks near Branson, Missouri, a small private Christian college, and this was the opportunity to get the college education that I always dreamed about. As a college freshman, I wanted to be a part of the whole college scene. I was the vice president of the freshman class, manager of the college basketball team, played college baseball, and I partied with friends. I wanted to be part of everything except for classes. And the bad thing is, at the end of my first semester, it was reflected in my grades. The good thing is, at the end of my first semester, I met a young lady. After the first date, I was hooked, and I never dated anyone else. One thing I loved about Wilda was her strong Christian faith. She was an honor roll student, and she got me back on the straight and narrow path. Wilda graduated in May of 1976, and a week later we were married. I spent the summer taking classes and working at the Branson Walmart. We were young, poor, and in love, and life couldn't be any better. We moved to Clarkton as Wilda began her teaching career, and I did my student teaching and drove a school bus. In May of 1977, my dream of a college education was finally accomplished. I graduated with a degree in physical education, health, and driver's ed. I now had a college degree, but no job. My goal was to be a PE teacher and a coach. But when I started looking for employment, coaching positions were scarce and pay was very low. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was at another crossroads in my life. But God had a plan for me. With the encouragement from my pastor, Brother Ted Wimbley, and a close personal friend of his, Sergeant Joe Matthews of the Missouri State Highway Patrol, I joined the patrol as a weight inspector enforcing trucking regulations. After 1 year as a weight inspector, I entered the patrol academy as a recruit, hoping to become a trooper. After 6 months of intense training, I graduated from the academy, and my first assignment was Troop G here in Houston, Missouri. My career was still well on its way, and we were ready to start a family. Our first child, Jeff, was born 11 of 1979, and I was now a proud dad, and life couldn't be any better. And when you look at that picture and look at Landon, you can see how big oh yeah, our 1-year-old grandson. But anyway, life couldn't be any better. Then on February 25th of 1980, I learned just how dangerous my job was as a Missouri trooper. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I had stopped to check on a tractor-trailer driver who was broken down. The trailer was sticking partially out on the road, loaded with steel. I pulled my patrol car behind it and turned on my overhead red lights. We were unaware that a Walmart truck was heading in our direction. The truck driver that was broken down had joined me in my patrol car and was trying to stay warm. And my patrol car got hit by the Walmart tractor trailer in the left rear, opening the car up like a can of sardines. I woke up in the emergency room in a local hospital with severe laceration to the side of my neck, a dislocated shoulder, and a ruptured inner ear. The truck driver who was seated in the patrol car with me sustained a broken neck and was later flown to a Columbia, Missouri hospital. After a week in the hospital and another week recovering from my injuries at home, I wanted to see my patrol car. That was my first patrol car I ever had as a trooper. Seeing the total car, I realized how close I came to being fatally injured in that accident that day. And not seeing the birth of my daughter, Jennifer, who was born a month and a half later. There was no doubt in my mind that God had His hand on me that day, and God had a plan for my life. Part of that plan was taking an active role in my church, Houston First Baptist. I served as Sunday school director for 5 years, and in 1990 I was ordained as a deacon. In July of 1992, another milestone occurred in my life with the Highway Patrol. I was promoted to the rank of lieutenant and transferred to Sikeston, Missouri, where I was the supervisor at the Troop E Service Center. One of the first things we did after we moved to Sikeston was to find a church home. We joined Fellowship Baptist Church and became active members. In May of 2010, after 33 years, I retired from the Highway Patrol. We moved back to Houston, where I had started my law enforcement career, and still continues today as I serve as Houston Police Chief. In closing, I want to thank you for allowing me to share with you how God has been an integral part of my life. I know that we may not have anything in common as far as background, age, or experiences, but no matter where you are or what you're faced with in your life, God has a plan for you. Romans 8:28 says, and we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Whose plan are you following today? Think about it. Whose plan are you following today? If you will let God in and direct your life, God has a plan for your life.